Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 28th of November. It was a fairly uneventful day on the US market yesterday, a little bit lower on S&P 500. And I think we will see a bit of a correction taking the index down to 4,500, possibly very close to test this gap area, upper part of gap area here at 44.58. But I don't think it will take it break below it. But a little bit of a setback after this very strong rally here the past couple of weeks. Nasdaq 100 also topping out a little bit with this doji-like pattern there, doji-like candle, reaching the 161.8 projection of this correction here, or downtrend here. So a little bit lower to 15,740.45. I think there's some support. We have this gap area so support. If you're a bull, you don't want to see it being closed, meaning you don't want to see it close below 15,535. And I don't think it will. We also have all the moving averages moving higher. So there is some underlying support or underlying bullish trend there. European markets lower this morning. I warned a little bit about it in yesterday's update on EUROSTOXX 50 and DAX that we will likely see a correction. And what we can do, we can kind of have a little bit of an indication how deep it can run. It can run all the way down to 42.35, but I don't think we'll get all the way down there. But around 4,300, maybe dipping a little bit below. I still believe we will see a fairly end to the year, a fairly strong end to the year. More or less same picture on the DAX index. That was the EU50 CFD. Also here the DAX index, I think we will see a move down to around just above 15,575, where we have the 200 and 100 moving average coming up. And so I think we will see a bounce after that in this area here. Amsterdam. It did close above 763 2 days ago, but then we are now back below and we should see a correction. What is interesting is that we actually do have divergence on the RSI, indicating the uptrend is a little bit stressed. But still strong support at 750, and I think it will hold for now. We could end up being a little bit range bound here for a short while, but I think still towards the end of the year we will see a positive market. Belgium market selling off heavily today. It did close just above the resistance here at 35.75, but it couldn't hold up and sold off yesterday. And really this morning there is really some selling pressure. So we didn't get that far. And let's see, excuse me. We could test the falling trend line neckline here, but I think we will move around a little bit here over the next few days. Still, there's selling pressure, I think, towards the end of the week, maybe going into next week, we'll see. RSI still in positive sentiment, and there's no divergence indicating we should see higher. So there's a little bit difference between the various European markets, really. We have CAC 40 trading around this rising trend line here, just below 200. We could see it setting lower, possibly dipping below 7,200, but there's no divergence on the RSI. The peaks are nicely following and confirming uptrend. So this is merely just a correction, I believe, until proven otherwise. We have SMI, Switzerland, also below its rising trend line there, I think the 55 moving average, and the upper part of the cloud here, which is declining. And again, we have a positive RSI, no divergence. We should see after a correction period where it starts moving higher. We could see it dipping down to 10,675, but then I think buyers will come back in. On the FX front, we have euro-dollar testing this really strong support, really strong resistance here at 109.65, which is also this 61.8 retracement level. Can't really break above, but I think it will do it eventually. But let's see. What is interesting is we actually now have divergence on the RSI. I have drawn this horizontal line here. It needs to break above that horizontal line and close above it here on the daily chart. Why is it that, well, we actually did have a higher close yesterday. You can see here that is why. So these are placed at this line here is placed at the closing price. So this one is of course higher than this one, but the peak here is higher than this one. So that's divergence. So if I draw a trend line, it will be declining. So maybe it can't. If it gets rejected once again and is sliding lower and taking out this trend line here, it's not the strongest trend line, it's just merely a guideline. Then it is low here at excuse me, 108.52.50. I also mentioned in my technical update published yesterday that it will then turn into a bearish move. Cable ticking higher and no divergence on the RSI. There's room up to around 127.20 and 27.45 strong resistance and 61.8 retracement. So it looks like a slam dunk. I mean, you should always be careful about that. Suddenly something happens and then it doesn't materialize. But again, it is about probabilities, not certainties. Dollar yen back below the 149.05 support. So we could be range bound here between 147 and 150 the next couple of days. I would like to see a break below here before I really call that dollar yen is reversing. So I'm not really there yet, and I want to see a break above 150 for dollar yen to resume uptrend, just around, or actually 149.75, quite interesting. Euro yen also fairly quiet, still in a bullish trend, but could slide a little bit lower, and maybe we'll have an ABC correction down to test this rising trend line here and the 61.8 retracement at 160.20. Let's see about that. Aussie yen rejected at the 98.55. Could see also a little bit of correction down there. We should see it move higher, but still there is it is weakening a little bit. Something I haven't looked at for quite a while is the dollar Canada. And what is interesting, it starts to building a downtrend with lower lows and lower highs. If it take out the 135.69 around that level, if it's closing below that, well, then we are in a bearish confirmed downtrend, also with RSI currently testing the 40 support level. On the weekly, you can see it's actually breaking below this upper falling trend line there, busting this breakout pattern here. On the Aussie dollar, moving higher, but can't really. It needs to take off here. I think we will see it sliding a little bit back below here, but we are in an uptrend. We should see higher levels on Aussie dollar. And finally, on the dollar index, this morning testing the 103.04 support area, and we are. I need a close below before I actually see that. But if we get a very nice higher close here, we could maybe even draw a little bit of a bullish engulfing. But let's see. But it is very interesting and a key level to look out for. Gold a little bit higher this morning, and there's still room up to 2040 and 2070, 77, 78, which was the previous peak, but we have the 161.8 projection of this correction here at 2057. I still believe we'll get up there. There's a little bit divergence building up, but let's see. It's not really 100% confirmed yet. We are still in a bullish mode. Silver stalling a little bit here at the upper rising trend line, or in this what could be a rising channel. There is room up to 25.25, 26 possibly. We are in a bullish trend, and there's no divergence on the RSI. No news on copper really. Still trying to maybe regaining a little bit of ground before we could see another push towards the 382. What is interesting is also that oil is just more or less flat, and I also mentioned in my update that there is no. I mean, I think we will see a sideways move here the next couple of days, and the same here with Brent. What is interesting actually is that Henry Hub gas yesterday, well, it opened much lower, below around 275, but then it closed above this support at 283, and it actually formed this bullish engulfing pattern here. So that's actually quite interesting. If it can get back above the 55 moving average and back above the cloud area here, well, then we are back in a bullish trend. What we can do, we can draw us a little bit of a guideline, so to speak. Oops, that didn't really materialize. Hang on. Sorry about this. Like that. So if it does break that, well, then we are probably going to see higher levels. And also, what is interesting, RSI is still above 40, didn't close below. So this could be a bottom reversal pattern in Henry Hub. On the Dutch gas, breaking barriers, likely to test the lower rising channel there, or rising trend line. Excuse me. But the RSI is still in positive. It needs to close below 40. Finally, on the, as usual, on the US 10-year, seems to be testing the 436, or likely to test the 436 again. So that's really something to look out for. And again, keep an eye on the US 10-year Treasury future. The RSI is still below 60, and that's the one you want to break if you are bullish on the US 10-year future. That's all for today. A long one again. Sorry about that. And but have a nice day and have a trade.